Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Joshua Bridwell Show. This is the podcast where I talk about your personal, professional, and spiritual growth, and where we talk about your stories to help you go from stuck to growth. I am your host, Joshua Bridwell, and this episode is for anybody who feels like they are stuck in their career. Maybe you feel like you're working really hard, you're not moving in the direction that you want to go. Maybe you want something more, but you're just not entirely sure which steps to take. This episode is for you because we are going to be talking about creating a professional growth plan. This is a clear step-by-step way for you to control the direction of your career, and this is going to include setting realistic goals and also providing steps on how to actually reach these goals, because it doesn't do you a whole lot of good to just write them down if you're not making accurate steps towards it, intentional steps. So go ahead, grab a notebook, get comfortable, because we're going to get ready to dive in. So we've used this analogy several times now throughout the show, where we talk about a plan being like a GPS. Before it can give you directions, it has to know your current location. So it's really important for us to be honest with ourselves about where we really are in our career. So there are some questions that we need to ask ourselves. We need to ask ourselves a question of, what am I really good at? So if you're trying to figure that out, you could ask those around you. You could take a step back and be like, okay, what is it that I feel is a strength of mine? You could ask yourself, where do you feel stuck or frustrated? What feedback have I gotten from my boss, coworkers, or mentors? Do I even like my current job? If not, why? So let's go ahead. We're going to dive a little bit deeper here. How can you actually figure these out? I want you to try a few things. I want you to make a list of things that you enjoy doing at work versus the things that you might avoid at all cost. I want you to ask a few coworkers or friends what they think that your strengths are, because honestly, you might be surprised. I want you to look at your past performance reviews, if you've had any. What areas were you celebrated for? What areas did they say this could be an area of improvement? And I want you to think about your best and your worst work days. What made them really great? What made them awful? It's really important for us to take a step back and to reflect on these, because that's going to help us get a clear picture of where we are so that our GPS has a starting point. So now we know where we are. We need to get clear on where it is that we want to go. So ask yourself, where do I see myself in 5 years, in 10 years? You can look as far ahead as you want. It could even be hey, where do I see myself in the next 6 months, the next year? But also ask yourself, what kind of work genuinely excites me? If I could create my dream job, I love asking this question to people, and it throws them off because many people don't think about this. But if I could create my dream job, what would it look like? What would the title be? What would the responsibilities be? Would I be working with people face to face all day long? Would it be a desk job? But if you're not sure because you've never asked yourself that question before, that's okay. Most people don't wake up one day with their whole career mapped out. If you are somebody that has woken up with their whole career mapped out, great job. Probably don't need this episode. But for those who don't wake up one day and have their whole career mapped out, here are some ways that you can get a clearer picture. We're going to go over some practical action steps for you. I want you to try looking at job descriptions for roles that interest you. What skills do they require? What skills would you need to develop in order to get there? Also, follow people that are already in your dream job on LinkedIn. What are they doing? I don't like when people randomly reach out to me on LinkedIn whenever it comes to being really pushy or sales or educational recruiting. I appreciate the hustle, but I'm not one that is going to respond to those messages. But I will respond to messages of people that say, hey, I see your progress. I see your growth. What is it that you're doing? What's working? I am interested in getting better. It is perfectly okay to reach out to people and ask what it is that they are doing, and in order to sustain their position, or what it is that they did in order to get that position in the first place. And then imagine your ideal workday. We already talked a little bit about this, but where are you? Are you in the city that you're in now? Are you in a bigger city, a smaller city? Are you talking face to face with people? Are you at a desk? Are you researching data? And who are you working with? Are you working by yourself? Are you working with other people? These are just a couple of things for you to think through, but the reality is the clearer your vision is, the easier it'll be to create a plan to get there. And it's also going to be easier for you to communicate with your leaders that can help you to get there. This is where a lot of frustration lies, is where people are interested in improving, that they want better than they have right now, but they don't know what that looks like. So how are you supposed to go somewhere you don't know what it looks like? And so now that you have a more clear picture, we need to set some goals in order to help you get there. We've talked about the SMART goal way of setting goals. But for those that didn't listen to that episode, that is A-okay. We are going to go over that here in just a minute. But goals are really important. They shouldn't be just a vague idea of what it is that you're wanting. They should be really, really smart. And when I say smart, I mean specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. For example, I want a better job. That is a terrible goal. Instead, a SMART goal would sound something like, I want to be promoted to senior manager in 18 months by leading 3 major projects and taking a leadership course. That is very specific, it's measurable, it's achievable, it's relevant, and it is time-bound. Here's how you can do it. I want you to think about your next big career goal that you want. I want it to be specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. And then I want you to write it down. If you don't write it down, it's not going to happen. Mark my words. If you don't write it down, it's not going to happen. And then break it into smaller steps. What is the first thing that needs to happen? What can you do this week, this month, the next 3 months in order to get you moving in the right direction, building momentum towards your next big career move? You need to set deadlines for yourself, because without deadlines, it's just a wish. It needs to be time-bound. And small, consistent actions will lead you to big results. When you do research on your dream job, there might be some skills that you need to develop in order to land your dream job. That's perfectly okay. We need to talk about skills. If you want to grow in your career, it doesn't matter what your position is. It doesn't matter if you feel like you're at the bottom of the totem pole or if you feel like you're at the top. You need to consistently learn new skills, learn new things, because that's going to give you an advantage. You need to ask yourself 2 questions right now. What skills do I need to reach my next goal? And what's holding me back right now? Here's how you can figure this out. Look at job listings for your dream role. What skills do they mention that you don't currently have? We already talked about that. You can also ask your manager, your leader, your mentor, whoever you work with each and every day that has some influence on whether or not you advance in your career, what skills would help you to stand out moving forward. And you can also take online courses. There are plenty of places online, paid places, free places. If you're watching this on YouTube, YouTube is a really great place for you to learn new skills. Or maybe LinkedIn Learning if you pay for LinkedIn Premium, or Udemy or Coursera. There are a bunch of different places that you can learn new skills. And you can also have conversations with other people and learn skills that way. Speaking of talking with other people, if you're wanting to advance in your career, it's really important that you network well and you establish a personal brand for yourself, because success isn't about what you know, it's about who you know. You could be the most brilliant person on the face of the earth, but if you don't know anybody, if you don't share this with anybody, then it doesn't matter. If you want more opportunities in life, you need to build relationships with the right people. That is a matter of fact. I'm going to repeat that again. If you want more opportunities, you need to build relationships with the right people. So, okay, Josh, you need to build relationships with the right people, but I'm a socially awkward person. How can I build these relationships? Well, to be honest with you, I can be a socially awkward person sometimes too. But building relationships is something that I can do very well. So here's how you can grow your network. Number one is you can engage with people on LinkedIn, comment on other people's posts, share posts, connect with people that you don't know. When I was a junior in college attending the University of Texas, San Antonio, I took a career planning class, and in this course, we had to develop a LinkedIn profile, and we had to add 5 connections. And most people went and added their mom, their dad, their aunt, their uncle. I decided to take a risk and invite some high-level people. They didn't really know who I was. I knew who they were, or I wouldn't have sent the invitation. And they accepted my invitation, and I've been in communication with them ever since, and I do believe that they are a big reason why I am in the position that I'm in now, personally, professionally, as well as spiritually. So it is really important for you to connect with people on LinkedIn. It's also really fun to attend networking events. If you're not sure about any networking events within your community, I promise you that they exist, or they exist really close by. These could be events, they could be conferences, just anywhere where you can meet like-minded people in the industry where you are, or in the industry where you want to be. You've got to put yourself in the right rooms. And then I really encourage everyone. It doesn't matter, again, if you're at the bottom of the totem pole, the top of the totem pole, wherever you are. Find a mentor. Find somebody who is where you want to be, or has been where you want to be. While people know that networking is important, people don't often think about their personal brand. When people Google you, what is it that you want them to see? Are you wanting them to see you in a professional light and a fun light? When people search you online, what is it that you want them to see? Start sharing really valuable content in your field. Get out there, share the knowledge that you have. You would be really surprised. When you start sharing the knowledge that you have, 2 things happen. Number one, you realize what knowledge you don't have, so then you go and you're able to bridge the gap. But also, the more knowledge that you acquire from other people. Start sharing valuable content about what it is in your field. You are going to stand out if you do that. And this could be LinkedIn posts, completely free. You could run a blog. There are several different platforms online where you can run a free blog. Or if you are already a little bit of a bigger name, you could speak at speaking engagements if you can get a speaking gig. It doesn't matter how good your plan is. It doesn't matter how good at networking you are. It doesn't matter at how good you are at building a personal brand for yourself. None of this matters unless you take action and you track your progress. A plan is fantastic, but nothing at all changes unless you take action. You actually have to work. Yes, I used the W word. You actually have to work, and you have to track your progress. And here's how you can stay on track. You need to set a monthly check-in. Ask yourself, am I making progress? What's working? What's not? And then you need to celebrate your wins. If you completed a course, updated your resume, maybe you had a really great job interview or a networking call, you have to acknowledge that. You have to celebrate the small wins because the small wins add up to big wins over time. You need to stay disciplined. This is really hard. This is why I believe that New Year's resolutions don't work. They're mostly based on motivation, and the minute that discipline has to kick in, people fall back to their habits. Winners stay disciplined. Growth takes consistency. It doesn't just take motivation. So let's go ahead and wrap up, because creating a professional growth plan is about taking control of your career instead of waiting on things to happen. It's playing offense. It's not just playing defense. You are taking control of your career instead of waiting for your career to just happen however it decides to happen, because that is a really frustrating way to go about living life. So just to recap, you need to figure out where you are. You need to get clear on where you want to go. You need to set SMART goals. You need to identify skills that you need to develop. You need to build your network and personal brand. You need to take action and track your progress. I have one challenge for you. I want you to write down one SMART goal. And then I want you to take one small action toward it today. If this episode has really helped you out, which I really hope that it has, I want you to share it with somebody. I want you to subscribe. I want you to download this podcast, share it, because this is how we grow. This is how we help other people to get better. I want people to go out there and win personally, professionally, and spiritually. So thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of the Joshua Bridwell Show. Tune in next time. Let's grow.